Hey there guys, so today we're taking a look at Killing Floor 2 running on the AMD Ryzen 5 5560U and the Ryzen 5 5600H. Both of these are running on the Beelink SER5 mini PC. Now these two different models of mini PC come with some pretty drastic differences in terms of performance. The 5560U has a max TDP of 25 watts, while the 5600H has a max TDP currently of 35 watts. Now the chip itself can actually go even higher than that. The 5600H actually has around a stock TDP of 45 watts. So this is actually underclocked on this specific system. But as we found with pretty much every APU, there are diminishing returns to TDP. As long as you can maintain maximum clock speed on the iGPU, you pretty much already have the full level of performance. And as you can see with the APUs on both of these, the GPUs are reaching their maximum clock speeds. The 5560U does have a Radeon 6 iGPU, and this does mean that we have one fewer iGPU core in comparison to the 5600H, and the maximum clock speed is just 1600 megahertz in comparison to the 1800 megahertz on the 5600H. What this overall means is that while with the lowest in-game graphics settings at the full 1080p resolution, the 5560U is not exactly hitting a 60 FPS average. It is close to it, but it is under it. While the 5600H is more than comfortably getting an above 60 FPS gaming experience, and our 1% lows are very, very close to that. Now, overall, the experience is going to be pretty fantastic on both of these. Neither one is really giving us a bad time, though of course the higher levels of performance on the 5600H are pretty noticeable, but as are the higher temperatures because it is a hotter chip. Now, APUs are not designed to thermal throttle until they reach a maximum temperature of 105 degrees, so there is still more than enough headroom here. We are not reaching thermal throttling, and the hardware itself is pretty much designed to run at this temperature. The build quality of the mini PC itself is high quality enough that I can almost guarantee you that there is no damage being done to the system at all running like this. That being said, the lower temperatures on the 5560U are pretty apparent, and this does mean that the system itself runs quieter, and it of course is throwing out less heat into the room, and in general is just saving you on power. Now, for the vast majority of people out there, if you're in the United States, that doesn't really matter to you at all. Energy prices in general are cheap practically across the board here unless you're in very specific circumstances, but in locations like Europe where you're usually paying sometimes as much as 10 times the price per kilowatt as the US, the energy efficiency differences between the two can actually be noticeable enough that you might be better off going with the 5560U. But when it comes to just pure gaming performance, the difference between the 5560U and the 5600H are drastic enough that you should really just consider getting the 5600H. Now, there is an interesting development though. Beelink has started to release a version of the SER5 with the Ryzen 5 5500U, not the 5560U. Now, the naming scheme is a little annoying because of the fact that the 5560U in a lot of ways actually has some performance regressions in comparison to the 5500U, which is actually an older chip, because while the 5500U is Zen 2 based instead of Zen 3 that both of these systems have right here, it has the exact same iGPU that the 5600H has. Now, I currently do not have the system in front of me, so I cannot confirm to you what the default TDP is or if it's adjustable or anything like that. But if it's running at the 25 watt TDP that the 5560U actually runs at, then you are better off grabbing that system instead, especially because right now it is actually on sale for more than $50 less than the 5560U. Now, it isn't a complete wash to just get the 5560U because you do get the Zen 3 cores in that instead of Zen 2. Now, if you're doing pure just gaming, it does not matter. Even if you have Zen 2, you are still going to get better performance because of the iGPU. But if you're doing any tasks that require a faster CPU, the 5560U is going to be a better option. There is a pretty substantial performance difference between Zen 2 and Zen 3, especially at lower TDPs because of the drastically increased efficiency. So because of that, it's not a 100% win for the 5500U mini PC, but at the price point that it's at and the level of performance that you get by having the same iGPU as the 5600H, you're looking at potentially having a really rock solid time. Now, this seems to be a new release or at least a new refresh because the Amazon listings that I've seen of it are putting it next to the 6600H and the 6800H. So it seems to be what they're using as the low end of their stack now, which is interesting to see because of the fact that at the price point that it's at right now, which currently on sale, it is pretty much around $300 US. It is a pretty crazy value. The 5500U has been around for a good while now, but at that price point, it is still super competitive. And if it falls in between these two mini PCs in terms of performance for cheaper than both of them, then it seems to be the perfect system to get currently. Now, again, I do not have one in front of me. I don't know the exact TDP, but I would be shocked if they would set the TDP lower than the 5560U. But anyways, check it out on the links below, price things out, figure out what fits your use case better. But in general, the 5600H is the pinnacle of performance, but a version with a 5500U would not be far behind. So if you're interested in me picking up one of those systems just to let you know how it performs, let me know down below. And obviously it would help me greatly to actually get that system if you become a channel member for as little as $1 a month. And if you can't do that, you can always check out the Amazon affiliate links down below. If you were interested in picking up anything anyway, use that link and it'll help me directly, and it makes it so that I can actually get my hands on these systems and test them for you and let you know what are the best choices for you to make. But anyways, I will catch you in the next one.